A long time ago, in a village in Korea, there was a very old couple who were quite poor, but they were very happy with each other. They loved each other. They loved each other dearly. They'd been married for very many years, and they had everything in the world that they wanted except one thing. They'd never had a child, and that was a cause of some sorrow to them. But apart from that, they were very happy, and they were very kind and generous to their neighbours. And every harvest time, whenever the harvest came, they made kimchi, which is a traditional Korean dish, and they went to the neighbour's house, big house next door, and they knocked at the door and said, "Dear neighbour, here we have some kimchi. This is the first kimchi. Please accept it from us." And the neighbour opened the door, looked at the kimchi, took it without a word, closed the door. And the next year, the same thing happened. The harvest came. They made the kimchi. They knocked on the neighbour's door and said, "Dear neighbour, please accept this first kimchi from us. This is a present from us." And the neighbour again looked at the kimchi, took it, closed the door without a word, because he did not know how to say thank you. Now it so happened that one winter was particularly severe and cold, and the snow came down, and it was cold for months and months, and the old couple were very, very cold. They were burning the last of their wood. They were crouching around the fire, and it was so cold that as they were crouching around the last of the fire, their backs were cold. And the old wife said to her husband, "Husband, you've got to find some wood. Otherwise, if you in the forest. Otherwise, if you don't find any wood, we'll freeze to death. Please go into the forest and see if you can find any sticks." So he got up and he put his coat on and went into the forest to look for some sticks.
And he walked and walked, further and further into the forest. It's all starting to get dark, when he suddenly heard a sound. And the old man looked up, and there he saw the most beautiful spring bird sitting on a branch high up in a tree. The bird took off, and he flew from branch to branch, singing, and went deeper and deeper into the forest, as if he was saying, "Here, come, follow me." After a while, the bird stopped, and he was singing, and he was pointing down, as if he was saying, "Come here, look." The old man walked up to the bird, and when he looked down, he was surprised to see water coming out of the ground. There was a spring. The man was very tired now, so he bent down and he scooped up a little bit of water and he drank it. And it was the most sweet and beautiful nectar that he'd ever drunk. He was very, very tired, so he fell asleep.
After an indefinite time, he woke up and he was surprised to find how full of energy he was. He felt completely different. He no longer felt the cold. He no longer felt tired. He leapt up and bounded through the forest, gathering sticks with both hands, putting them on his back, into his arms, until he'd gathered a huge amount of wood. And he bounded through the forest, no longer tired at all, back to the house which he shared with his wife. And because his arms were full, he kicked on the door, and his wife opened the door and said, "Look, wife, I've got all this wood. We won't be cold anymore." And to his surprise, she said, "Oh!" Absolutely staggered. And he said, Why are you so surprised? Why are you reacting like that?" And she said, "You look so young. What's happened? You look so young. You're not the same person." And then he thought for a while, and he remembered the spring and the bird, and then he realised it was something to do with the water, and he told her everything that had happened, about how he'd met the bird and how the bird had led her to the spring, and eventually he drunk this water and fallen asleep, and how different he felt. And then he said, "Look, I'll show you." And he started to drag her through, out of the door, into the forest, and "I'll show you what I mean." And eventually, and she said, "Look, slow down, you're young, and I'm old, just slow down." Eventually, they arrived at the spring, and there was the spring, just as it was before. And he cupped his hands and took some of the water and gave it to his wife to drink. And just as he had done, she fell asleep. And he picked her up, and she wasn't heavy for him now. She picked her up and gently took her home back to the house.
The next day, the selfish neighbor woke up to the noise. He looked out through the window, and there he saw hustle and bustle in the courtyard around the house where his neighbors were living. And he saw, who are those people? I don't recognize them. So he went over there, marched over, he knocked at the door, and the couple opened. He said, who are you? What are you doing here? What happened to the old couple? So they told him the whole story. But before he even had finished it, the neighbor dashed out through the door and went far and disappeared into the forest.
That was in the morning. And in the evening, he still hadn't reappeared. And the couple started to get worried. The wife said to her husband, maybe he's met with an accident in the forest. Maybe he's met with an animal who's devoured him and killed him. Let's go and see what's happened. So they go into the forest and they look, and there's not a sign. Eventually, they come to the spring, and all they see is not a person, not the neighbour, but a pile of clothes there. And as they approach, they see these clothes, and it looks like the neighbour's clothes. And the woman says to her husband, look, absolutely as I thought, an animal has devoured him. And as they were talking, they saw that the clothes were moving a bit. They started to move. This is strange. And they go up to the clothes and they see this movement. And then
they hear a sound. Ah, ah. And they walk up a little bit carefully and they lift the clothes and they find a baby. They look at each other. And the wife said to her husband, this is the child that we always wanted. So they take the child, and they bring it back to their house, and there they raise it as if it was their own. The child grows up, becomes an adult. But do you think that the child became selfish and greedy like their old neighbor? Or do you think that he grew up to become loving